Robbie Bacon, Associate Editor of RideApart, here in Portimao for the launch of the 2025 Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS. Now, this is day 1 of 2 on the Speed Triple, and today was all based on the road. And unfortunately, Portugal being Portugal at this time of the year, it was raining for the majority of the day. For the most part, you would think that's a pretty bad thing on such a beautiful bike, but it actually gave me an opportunity to experience a lot of the new upgrades for 2025 that I probably wouldn't have focused as much on had it not been such bad weather. While the bike does come with 3 more horsepower, bringing it to 180, that's not really something I got to experience today. Hopefully tomorrow I get a taste of that on the track. Today was spent managing grip in wet conditions, and that's where the new electronic suite, traction control, ABS, everything came into play. The EC3 suspension it's only on a couple of bikes right now, really high-end bikes, and you would think it's all about sport performance. But today I got to experience another side of it, which is comfort. Comfort and sport aren't usually 2 areas you get to explore on the same bike in one day. But throughout the day, it got wetter and wetter, and the roads got worse and worse, and I flicked it into comfort mode while still staying in the road setting. It would not be an overstretch to say it was night and day difference. Like, this bike got comfortable. Never something I thought I'd say on a Speed Triple. And when I flicked it into just normal mode, not even sport mode, normal road mode, it sharpened up instantly. Rain mode isn't something that we usually get to talk about, or I guess necessarily want to talk about, because it's not that exciting. But today, when I had it in road mode, it lit up the back tire, unintentionally of course. It was a bit hairy for a second. Into rain mode, and you could not upset this bike. It made riding in the rain enjoyable. Right now, I'm going to go dry off, get warm, and see you in 1 second. Basically, and then you pick it up for a straight line.
Not really a V, because that would be like this.
Yeah.
But you want to get the majority.
Day 2 of the Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RS launch at Portimao. Much like yesterday's road ride, today's weather has been fluctuating between, well, dry spells, like we have right now, and, well, relatively wet spells. Even here on the track with these Pirelli Diablo rain tires, at least for most humans like myself, letting loose with nearly 100 pound-feet of torque and 180 horsepower is not, it's not a viable strategy if you want to keep working in this job. Now, to be fair, we're only getting to play with a limited spectrum of these electronics because it is so wet on the track. So we're not going super sporty, so I can't tell you what that's like right now. But I can tell you a little bit on the other end of the spectrum, whereby we're getting to play around with the comfort setting on the track of all places and the normal setting on the track. Today, with the tires not being so hot, putting it into comfort mode and allowing the bike to undulate and push against the tires and compress the suspension more and heat up the tires in these cold and wet conditions actually gives you more grip. And then if the rain subsides and you flick it into normal mode, now you have more grip and the bike becomes more nimble instantly. This EC3 suspension is phenomenal in terms of how quickly, first of all, it reacts to the inputs from the road, but also how quickly you can change it on the fly. If it was just sunny all day, you would be just dialing it in, getting faster and faster and faster. But because it's raining, and then you're getting used to the rain, and then it stops raining, and you're getting used to the dry, you're going all over the place. And you really begin to appreciate how easy the system is to use and how well it works. We just had a session testing the front wheel lift control. I think you should just call it a wheelie system, because that's essentially how it feels. It actually made me start questioning if I should really continue pursuing to learn how to wheelie if this system exists, because it's just like, it made me feel like a hero. It put me on cloud 9, honestly. It really makes you feel like you're doing the wheelie. By far and away the best anti-wheelie or lift control system I've ever used. So I haven't been able to get the most out of this bike due to the weather conditions, but the bike is giving me confidence everywhere. And for a bike that's 1200cc and 3-cylinder, it is incredibly nimble, especially once you get into the normal mode or the sport mode. This thing just wants to turn. And that can be quite intimidating with so much power on a bike that really wants to get over if you cannot trust that the tires are going to maintain traction. I own a Street Triple 765, that's my daily ride. And it was an aspirational bike for me to buy. I've wanted one nearly since it came out, since 2008, I suppose. Eventually I was able to get one, and I thought, this is it. Like, this is the perfect bike, you don't need anything else. And while that largely remains true, you don't need anything else, after riding the Speed Triple 1200 RS, this particular iteration, I also don't think I can ever look at my bike the same way. And that's largely down to this semi-active suspension and the electronics system. You can ride it to the twisties, flick the electronics into the preferred mode and tackle the twisties. Flick it back into comfort, go home. I wouldn't be surprised if someone ruined this beautiful shape by putting some luggage on the side. I could really see people taking this distance, like turning it into a kind of a sport touring motorcycle, because it is that comfortable and it really makes you want to ride the beautiful roads that are maybe a day's ride away from where you live. Now, there are plenty more upgrades to talk about, like wider handlebars and slightly different ergonomics, freer flowing exhaust system, lower center of gravity, and I will touch on all those in my article. For those of you who still read out there, there is a link in the description, and I'll be going into all the nitty-gritty of the details. And until then, subscribe, like, and you'll probably see me pop up in a week or so talking about a different bike. Cheers.